All right. Good morning, listeners around the world. It is your librarian again, Atundabiodun Daniel, and I'm here with another topic. This evening, we want to continue our series, The Law of Library Science as Postulated by Dr. RANGANTHAN. In my last two videos, where we discussed extensively about the first law, which is books are for use. In that video, I made mention of the fact that books are created, books are written, books are published so that users can have access to them. Books are not written to be locked up on the library shelf. Books are not written to be preserved so that people will not use it. Books are written so that individual users can have access to the book of their choice. It is after the user must have used the book that librarians or library can now be thinking of how to preserve them, how to conserve them, and how to elongate their life span. Second law of Dr. RANGANTHAN, which we've also discussed extensively in my second video, is every user is or a book. The first law, books are for use. The second law, every user is or a book. The first law centered on books, that books should be made available. Users should be given unrestricted access to the book of their choice. The second law, which says every user is or are books, centered on users. The bone of contention regarding the second law is centered on the user, that users should be given access to books of their choice. Users should not be restricted from having access to the book of their choice. Users should be highly respected when it comes to information seeking in the library. That's second law of Dr. RANGANTHAN. Today, we are moving forward by going to the third law of library science, which is every book is or are users. Don't forget, the first law centered on the books, making book available. The second law centered on the users, giving user unrestricted access to their book. This third law that we're about to talk about center on the book itself. And mind you, books in this video refer to any information-bearing resources that a library is holding. Books as used by Dr. RANGANTHAN. In this context, I'm saying books encompasses all information-bearing resources in the library, the like of books, magazine, CD, information on microfilm, information on microfiche, information of all material is being regarded in this video as books. Now, this law, the third law, which is every book is or a user, centered on books, giving user access to all the books in the library. This law states that there is a reader for all particular books in the library. Every book that is on the library shelf has a particular reader that will come and ask for it. The law assumes that if book exists in the library, if any book at all exists in the library, there is a purpose for that book, and there is a user that will come someday, sometimes for that book. Now, the responsibility of a librarian, the responsibility of a library is to make sure that each book on the library shelf finds its user. The sole responsibility, as postulated by Professor Dr. RANGANTHAN, is that the librarian and the library should ensure that all the books on the shelf find its users. No book on the library shelf should be redundant. No book on the library shelf should remain unused because there's a purpose for the creation of that book, and the purpose is to get into the hand, is to be read by a particular person. So the library and the librarian should ensure that all books in the library are connected to their users. The sole reason for creation of that book is that it should be used, and to be used by a particular users. The third law of library science are postulated by Dr. Ranganathan. Every book is or a user, meaning every book in the library has a user. Every book that finds its way to the library has a user. The user must be connected to the book by the library and the librarian. Now, to connect every user to their desired book, to make sure all the books on the library shelf are not redundant, library and library staff have a particular obligation, have some set of obligations, so to say. Now, we will be dealing with those obligations now. First, the library must periodically offer user education, user training to their clientele, such that how to locate a particular material will be easy for their users. By so doing, users will be eager and they will have access to the book of their desire with ease. User training must be given a priority. Another way the library could help the library books to be connected to their users is to do publicity. Publicity is very, very important if any librarian wants to follow the third law of Dr. Ranganathan theory of library and information science. Publicity, by informing library users about the availability of new information resources in the library. It is the responsibility of the librarian to periodically inform, to always carry users along about the existence of library material in the library. They can get this done by working on current awareness services, a service in the library that connects the users to the book in the library. Also, selective dissemination of information could be anchored by the library in such a way that every information-bearing resources that tally with information need of their users are communicated to those users. By so doing, users will be updated about the existence of a particular book in the library, and those books will find their users. Another way of getting all the material on the library shelf across to their users is by involving users in the acquisition process of all the materials in the library. Get them informed, seek for their opinion of books they would like to read, and acquiring such book. Once the library acquires information material that is suggested by their users, it brings them automatically into the library to have a contact with that material. By so doing, library books will not be redundant. Another way of liaising information users with their needed information on the library shelf is by creating accurate surrogates, cataloging properly, such that users will they will get connected to their book of their choice easily. By so doing, every book in the library will have a user that will come and use them, as postulated by Dr. Ranganathan. In a nutshell, in summary, every book is user. Every book on the library shelf is written for somebody. Every book that finds its way into the library is written for somebody. Every book that is bought, that the library bought with a mega fund, is bought for somebody. So it's the responsibility of librarians to make sure that those books are not valueless, to make sure that those books are used by their users. With this, I want to stop here today. Now we've attended to the first law of library science, book are for use. We've attended to the second one, every user is or a book. This is the video for the third one, every book is or a user. I hope you find this video useful. Thank you for listening, and bye-bye until I see you in the next video. Bye-bye.